A client asked for a discount. Instead of lowering my price, I raised their expectations. Here's the exact conversation that landed me the job at full price. This video is about what I've done and said to people when they've asked me to give them a better price on a deck. There is one way or one reason I will give a discount, but usually I don't lower my price. If I'm gonna lower my price, then the client must have an expectation of receiving less than they expect. So a lot of times I'll go out on a bid or an estimate and people will say, man, I want a 50 by 200 foot deck. I'm like, wow, that's 10,000 square feet, you know, that was a ridiculous amount. But you get my point. You gotta set the expectation on what you're gonna be giving the client for a price. If they want a big, large, thousands of square feet, just off the top of your head, if you just said 1,000 square feet times $100 a square foot, you know, you're at $100,000 just for the deck without any railing steps or anything else. So that can put some people back in their place. Or if I feel like the client is qualified and I don't wanna like start throwing numbers out right away, I'll just write everything down and then I return an estimate. But usually when they get it, they're like, well, we weren't expecting to spend $250,000. That's how much we paid for the house 20 years ago. Like, well, yeah, 20 years ago, so did I. What it does is it sets the expectation of price for the client so they kind of have an idea of where they're gonna be at realistically. So always managing the expectation of the client is one good way to put them in the right mindset before you go any further. One way to also let the client know that your price is valid is explain to them what you're gonna get. Sometimes writing it down on paper doesn't really give them the true value of what you're doing. For example, we're gonna do special footings. We're gonna use helical piles instead of just using footing blocks. Or we're gonna hand dig and pour concrete and put rebar in the footings for a stable foundation where somebody else is gonna go to the home center and just buy a footing block and throw it in the ground. That's a huge difference and people don't even understand the value. Most building jurisdictions won't allow to use a footing block on a second story deck. So think about those kind of things. What brings value to your deck that maybe the competitors aren't doing? For me, I'm gonna be spending more time at your home than anybody else. I am not a production builder. I'm a custom builder and I'm on your job site every single day. Here's another winner for me. If you're gonna be the business owner and you're gonna be on site taking care of that deck, your client is rest assured that if there's any kind of issues that they have, that they can walk right outside and talk to the guy that sold the deck to them. Now, some companies don't work that way. They have project managers, they have lead men, they have this and that. But I've found for the clients that I have, that direct correspondence goes a long way to the finish line. So a lot of my clients like the fact that I'm there, I'm backing the company, and I'm working the company as well. Again, maybe not your business model, that's okay. But for what I've done over the last 35 years of being a deck builder, it has worked for me. So let's say you wanna give a discount and ABC Decks is $5,000 less than your bid. They send you ABC Decks bid because they want you to do the job, but they want to pay the price of ABC Decks. And you notice discrepancies between the two estimates. I just did this with a client. I said, you know, the bid you received, they didn't include skirting all the way around the deck. They only included 14 feet of railing when I'm giving you 24 feet of railing. And if you add those discrepancies up, then actually I'm saving you money off of their price. Sometimes you have to be the detective and instigate what's going on and figure out, okay, why is this company getting these bids? Sometimes they're just gonna have a less price. And here's your rebuttal. If you're the owner doing the work versus you paying somebody else to go out and do the work, then there's a transfer of labor, right? As the owner, my labor is more valuable than somebody I pay to do the labor. So you can also use that as a lien to, if you need to, that's just another good reason to put in your chamber of why your company may be more valuable than hiring the cheapest bid. Some people are just gonna go for the least expensive bid. They don't care about the framing. They don't care about the decking. They don't care about the railing. They just want to get out of the dirt. Those are not my kind of clients. Sometimes I'll walk onto a job and here's an important tip, guys. You gotta know when to walk away. Out of 10 decks, on a hot month, I might sell 3 out of 10. On an average month, I might sell 2 or maybe 1 out of 10 bids that I go on. Sometimes 0. My conversion rate is low, but my profit margin is high. So I don't need to sell 10 decks. I might build 10 to 20 decks a year, and that's all I need to sustain my company. We do close to $1 million a year in decks, but we do really nice ones. So you gotta figure out where you fit in the mix of the companies that are building. So know your value compared to your competition. That's another thing that I would recommend is try to figure out, maybe ask the client, hey, can I see the other estimates that I'm working against? Some people will share that with you, some will not. The people that do either really like you and they just want to help you succeed in business, or they're just looking for the absolute cheapest price and they just want to keep seeing guys undercut each other. That's why you don't want to do that. Let that competitor take that lesser price, and then they're either going to try to bump the client up on add-ons, or they're going to lose their butt on the job, and then they're going to be out of business anyway, so now they're not your competition anymore. So it's completely up to you. Just stick to your guns. Reduce scope when you have to. And here's my last piece of advice. If you are going to give a discount and you're not going to reduce scope, make sure you know your hard costs on the job and your labor costs, so that if you're going to do it, that you're still making money on the project. Now, I just did this recently. I had a client that had some joker come in and claim they could give you a 40% discount. And this guy was giving a 40% discount off his inflated prices. I compared him to my prices, and my prices were lower than his, but I wasn't giving a 40% discount. But because this gentleman was a repeat client, and I wasn't gonna allow anybody else to come in and compare, and we already had one project, we're doing the other side of the project. I wasn't gonna let somebody else come in and take that away from me because I'd already completed it. I was comfortable giving this client a discount because I already made a profit off him once. I still made a good profit off him a second time, just not quite as much, even though it was 4 years prior and the prices had gone up. So my price was higher than the original deck. I actually went back and looked at what I charged him for the first one, and I had to charge a little bit more. So what I did was I just gave him a 10% discount. I could go 10 or 15%, but a 15% discount on that project cost me almost $5,000 in profit. But I got the job, I was able to still make a profit, keep the client happy, and then everything matched. It was done, labor the same, the technique and the style, everything was the same. So the project turned out beautiful when it was finished. One more thing I just thought of, guys, and I don't do this enough, I don't do it very often, I only do this when I need work or I'm looking for work, is do your follow-up. You can recontact a client and ask, hey, have you made a decision? Is there a reason why you chose ABC decks over Dr. decks? That kind of thing. Sometimes rejection is tough to take. I get a lot of no's, okay? I'm kind of used to it, but you got to build a thick skin. Over 35 years of doing this, yeah, it's to me now, oh, no harm, no foul. Best of luck with your deck project. Sometimes it's good to ask, hey, why did I not get that project? Or is there a way that, how can I earn your business? Now, if it's strictly price and I'm not lowering my price, then it is what it is. But maybe there's a reason why they want to go with this other company, but follow-up is another important way for you to be able to possibly get that job and inch somebody else out because they didn't call back to follow up on their bids. So now we're gonna mock up a conversation from Studio Man's a client, and I'm gonna be the business.
Hello, Mr. Dr. Decks. It is a pleasure and an honor to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
I would like a deck, please.
Okay.
This deck is going to be 75 feet by 25.
Holy smoke, that's a big deck. That's like 1,500 square feet. Do you realize just the cost of the deck? Do you have any scope or idea of how much that might be?
$50.
No, not even $50 a square foot. You're looking at, even if it was just $50 a square foot and we're at 2,000 square feet, that's $100,000 just for the deck. That doesn't include your fascia, your surface borders, your benches, steps, railing, or any other items that you may want included with your deck.
Holy flapjacks Christ, that's a lot of money. ABC Decks offered me a lower price even for that. Can you match it? Can you give me a discount?
Sorry, sir, we don't offer discounts, but I would be happy to take a second look at my estimate if you're willing to share that estimate with me. I can't just offer you a discount by you verbally telling me, but if you show me the proof, I'll consider lowering my price if I can do a comparable bid with the competition.
Can you break down exactly what I'm getting for your price?
I'm happy to itemize your bid, but if you want me to break down material costs and labor labor costs, that takes several hours of my time. I have to charge you $500 an hour to do that for you, and it takes an average of at least 4 hours for me to figure out those prices. Would you like to continue with that, or would you like to just consider the bid I've already given you?
Dang, you're like a lawyer, man.
Well, I consider myself a doctor.
Is there any single way at all that we can lower the price?
We could consider financing your deck. So there's several financial institutions that offer low interest rates if you want to push this out into a monthly payment. I personally don't offer financing, and I'm sorry, I also do not take credit cards, as a credit card company charges me 3 to 5% to process your payment. If you're happy to pay that 5%, we could consider using a credit card.
So if I wanted to save money, does that mean I would have to make the deck smaller?
That is correct. And because you requested such a large area, I don't think you really need that much deck space. Why don't I come back to you and we map out in your backyard how big that 25 by 75 foot deck's gonna be. And you might realize that, hey, this is too much deck space. I'd be much happier with a 16 by 20 or a 12 by 24 or something of that size, which would really reduce the scope and save you a lot of money on this deck project.
What if I don't want X item?
That's why we like to itemize the bid. As long as it meets the current building code, you don't need railing in this section of the deck because we're under 30 inches off the deck. We could start the railing right here at 31 inches and then continue. That'll save you another 20 feet of rail, which is gonna save you several $1,000s.
What if I wanted to add something later to the deck?
That's not a problem. We can build this now, and then when you're ready for the extra railing, we can add that in the future. We can also build you those benches and planter boxes you wanted. We don't have to do it right now, but maybe for next Christmas, we'll get them done for you and your wife so you guys can really enjoy that for the spring.
It's June 1st. Can you have it done by the 4th of July?
Yeah, 4th of July of next year. Usually we book out 6 months in advance. So if you want that deck done by the 4th of July, you need to contact me January 1st.
I really like this cable rail that you do. How much is that?
Cable rail is one of the more expensive Cable rail is one of the more expensive railings we have that we offer, but to save a lot of money, we can knock that price in half if you want to do a nice aluminum picket railing. I know it's not as nice as the stainless steel cable, but if we're on a budget, I can't give you a high-end railing product for the price of a picket. So let me give you the price for picket railing and we'll go from there.
Is there any other possible way that I can save money on this deck?
Yes, staircase and railings cost a lot. They're one of the most expensive add-ons to a deck. If you want to eliminate your staircase and the railing on the staircase, that's going to save you about 20% on this entire deck project.
After navigating this conversation, how much money do you think I could save on this deck?
If we eliminate your surface borders, we keep the fascia, we do the pattern breaks that we need, we go to picket railing, and we eliminate the lighting, and we eliminate the benches, we're gonna save a substantial amount, at least 25% less than what you have on your standard bid.
Let me talk to my wife.
I think that's a good idea.
No,
She's gonna keep the cable railing, though, I guarantee it.
No, just kidding. Okay, do your 3D renderings, okay? Do it.
I'll be happy to, but you got to realize that 3D renderings require payment. We charge $150 an hour with around an 8-hour time frame to do those renderings. They're not free. So I'm happy to give you a complimentary numbers bid, but if you want the 3D renderings, prepare to spend between $1,200 and $1,600 for those. And I do suggest we get a building permit for this deck as well, which is going to add another $5,000 to $7,000 to the overall cost of the project.
Are you joking?
No, I'm serious. Let me tell you why. You're gonna need construction drawings. Those are provided by me. Those cost $2,500. You're gonna need engineering for those construction drawings, which means I'm communicating with the engineer to come up with a plan for the structure of your deck. That's another $2,500. That comes to $5,000. Then you have your permit fee, which I have no idea what the building department's gonna charge you for. So that's anywhere from $800 to $2,500 for the building permit. Sometimes it's a little bit less. Oftentimes it's right in that upper echelon. That's why I say $7,500, because then it covers those costs completely.
I was supposed to talk to my wife, but that won't get me in trouble later. I think we would like to have you do it because ABC Decks didn't explain half of the stuff that you did, and you've set realistic expectations for price. Congratulations, Mr. Decks, you have won the project.
It's Dr. Decks, and thank you very much for choosing Dr. Decks. You won't regret it, and we can start in 3 months from now. Thank you for your time. All right, guys, well, that concludes this video. If you liked it, or you found something hilarious, or it helped you in your business, or just in general, please click the subscribe button. Hit the bell icon to be notified when we're putting out content. Don't forget to check out our awesome podcast, which the link is below. We have some of the best deck builders in the nation on, and it's really great to get to know them and their history. And also, if you want some merch, we have some Dr. Decks t-shirts for sale. There's also some Dr. Decks squid jigs for sale. So check those out as well. Links in the description below, guys. Thanks for watching this video. Have a great day.